Hey everyone, welcome to a new video, welcome to my channel, welcome to August palette extravaganza here on my channel. My name is Micah and today we are talking eyeshadow palette haul. Yes, that's right. In this month, I really want to post a lot about eyeshadow palettes because that is my favorite thing. So every video going live in the month of August is going to be about eyeshadow palettes, and I thought, what better way to show you a haul. So that's what we're doing today. This is also a little bit of a follow-up to some of the other videos that I've been doing this year, where I've been talking about new eyeshadow palette releases. Eyeshadow palettes are my favorite thing, but I definitely don't want to get at every single one of them. So in those videos, I talk about what's new out there, what I've seen popping up on Instagram, and sort of share my thoughts on which ones I might want to get, which ones I don't want to get. And this is sort of like the follow-up video of showing you all of the palettes that I've actually bought in the past couple of months. There are still a couple of palettes on its way that I don't have yet, but they're in the mail. They have been processed. They are making its way to me, so I will mention those. So you have the latest and the greatest update of what I've been adding to my eyeshadow palette collection. I have 15 palettes here to show you. Only 2 of which I've actually put on my eyes enough to have some thoughts, so I will not be reviewing anything here because all I've done with these is swatch them. I don't remember the order in which I got these, but I do know that the oldest, like furthest back palettes I got are actually 2 by the same brand, and they are the Menagerie Cosmetics Feral, I don't know how to pronounce that word, and the Dragon Child palette that they do. These are really heavy, hefty palettes. I was very surprised by the weight. And one of the things I wanted to do in 2019 was try more indie brands. So be ready for some indie love here because there's a lot of indie going on. And one of the brands I definitely wanted to try was Menagerie because their palettes, like just look at this packaging. Look at that front cover. And then when you open it up, the shades in the cover, like some of the colors here and like the butterflies and like the eyes of the wolf and some of the fairies that are around here, if you open it up, those shades are the shades you actually get in the palette. So that is so cleverly done. You get a mirror in the lid. I do have to say that these smell a bit funky, but yeah, you get a ton of product in here. And this is one of the palettes that I did already try. I already put this on my face. This is definitely a color story that at first I was like, okay, how am I going to work with that? You get some gorgeous shimmers in here. This green, this wolfling shade has my heart. It's so pretty. Because you do get a bit of a random array of cool tones and warm tones, it seems. But yeah, I was able to work with this quite easily actually, and I pulled 3 or 4 stunning looks out of this so far. So can't wait to play with it a little bit more. But yeah, that's the Feral palette by Menagerie. I also bought the Dragon Child, as I mentioned, and this I believe is being discontinued, which is why I wanted to get it. I was first thinking, oh, I'll just get one first and then see what the quality is like and perhaps buy some more. And the reason why I wanted to get this is because this color story is just everything. I haven't put it on my face yet. I'm actually wearing singles today, so none of the palettes I'm showing you are on my eyes. But yeah, you get these gorgeous purples in the bottom here. This lavender shade just speaks to me. This gorgeous pinky shimmer, oh man, it looks so stunning. You get some greens, you get these like bright bluey aqua shades, and then these reds, and then this gold. It only has 2 shimmers, which I'm a shimmer kind of person, but I think these shimmers can go with a lot of the actual matte shades that are in here. So I can't wait to try this more and to put it on my face. And this still has the Makeup Monsters name on it as well. So Menagerie used to be called Makeup Monsters, so I can understand why they're getting rid of this because the packaging is just not very cohesive anymore with what they were doing. What they are doing with their current line. That Whale Song palette and also that Violet Ink palette, those are really nice, but as I will mention at the end of the video when I talk about the new stuff that I don't own yet, there's a reason why I'm not purchasing the Whale Song. Another indie brand I wanted to try was Strobe Cosmetics. This is their Creepy Cute palette, and especially this palette was on my wish list. This is a pastel eyeshadow palette with a gray and a black, which the gray and the black I'm not sure I will use, but I don't own that many like white-based pastel shades. So I thought this was a good one to A, try the formula, but to also have these like softer, very sort of watercolor kind of shades. I really like them. This Planchette light purple shade, just love it. So that's the Creepy Cute. Now this palette is actually my most recent purchase that I actually have my hands on, and that is the Bad Habit Artistry palette. And this is a funny one actually, because Bad Habit was not available to purchase in Europe at all. They would only sell to, I think it was US only actually. It wasn't even North America. I think it was just US. But I mentioned in a previous video that there's a little makeup store in my old hometown, Leiden, that sell hard to get makeup products. And I happened to be in Leiden this past week, and there I spotted this. And the lady at the store also told me that this little store is only going to be there still until the end of August, and then they're going to close down shop. So they are, some people were asking me, oh, what's the name of the shop? Is it anywhere near the border? I would love to go there. You need to be quick because they're only open for like the next 2 or 3 weeks, and then they're going to shut down, and they're just selling remaining stock, and that's it. This was on sale. This is 40% off, so I only paid €7 for this, which is really nice. And this is the dupe for the Makeup by Mario what's it called? Maestro palette with Anastasia. And that is a palette I never got my hand on, but the minute I started seeing that, I was like, that's a neutral kind of shade, like a neutral color story I can get down with. So since it was super affordable, and because I wanted to try Bad Habit, because so many people were raving about it, of course now it's called Alter Ego because Bad Habit was also shut down as a brand. So I'm glad to have something so I can try the formula in a color story that I like. These feel very soft, so I can't wait to put this on my face. And then I think it's been like 2 months or maybe 6 weeks ago, I placed a bit of an order on Beauty Bay because I wanted to buy a couple of palettes that were easiest for me to get through there. I love Beauty Bay for palette shopping actually. And a new brand that I really hadn't heard much about was Sample Beauty, and they have come out with 4 palettes, and I bought one of them. It's a very weird name. This is the Hydrographic eyeshadow palette, and it's a green, purple, blue, purple palette. I thought this looked really interesting. These do feel very chalky, I have to say. You get 3 shimmers, and the rest of them are mattes. But these, I just thought the color story was a really fun one. Sample Beauty, I believe, is a very new brand that is exclusively available on Beauty Bay, if I'm not mistaken. And these palettes are quite affordable. They're around the €22 mark. So it's a little bit like high-end drugstore prices, that sort of thing. So it's not super expensive. So I'm very interested to try this and see how it works on my eyes. I believe this is a UK indie brand. And as I was browsing Beauty Bay, I found this. And this is the LA Splash Classic Horror Palette. Now, don't ask me why I bought this. Because I can't find any reviews on this at all. And what I can find isn't wholly positive. So I'm not sure whether I'm going to like this. But I just thought, let me take off the sleeve. Look at that packaging. Isn't that gorgeous? Like, you get all these, zombies and vampires and a steampunk lady, and, it's really, really cool. I believe they released this for Halloween last year. I think it was supposed to be limited edition, but this is still on Beauty Bay. It has very shiny inner packaging, so I hope this is okay. And it's like a rainbow palette. It's all matte, but this green, this super murky zombie green, I just wanted to get. Again, like the Sample Beauty, this felt very chalky. So I'm not entirely sure, but the packaging combined with the color story just made me want to try it. I only know LA Splash from their liquid lipsticks. Those I've tried and those I liked. But this, I don't know, this brightish, sky blue, almost like a very bright periwinkle color. I thought this looked really interesting, and I just haven't heard anybody talking about this eyeshadow palette. no, like there are hardly any reviews online. This is one that's really sort of slipped through all of the releases, and since nobody like who's big on YouTube is hyping this up, then of course nobody knows about it. But I thought it looked interesting enough to give it a whirl. Another palette that was really high up on my list and a brand I really wanted to try was Ace Beauté. I think that's how you say it. This is their Slice of Paradise palette. And I was umming and ahhing between this and like the murky green yellow palette. I think it's called the Classic Paradise. But I'm just really into my brights right now, as you can tell from the look I'm wearing today. That's just really what I'm into. This is another sort of like rainbowy palette, and the main reason, the shade that drew me in is this shimmering green here. This is called Fruit Dove, and that just speaks my name. This comes with 2 shimmers, and that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to pick up this palette. A lot of rainbow palettes are all matte, which I don't get because I love a good colorful shimmer as well, and I like that dimension to be on my lid to have a bit of variety. Everything else, I think this purple and this green are shimmers. Everything else is matte. You get a really nice peachy shade, which can work really well as a transition because it's more of a neutral. And these seem to be quite bright, especially this corner over here. They seem to have a pretty white base to them, so perhaps these could look a little bit neon on my super fair skin as well. Not sure, but we'll see. And the main reason why I decided to order through Beauty Bay is these 2. Usually I get my Zoeva palettes from their official website because they are usually a little bit more affordable to get because it's free shipping and all that. But the Zoeva Heritage and Melody palette were both on Beauty Bay, and they were less expensive than they were on the Zoeva website. And I was going to get these other palettes anyway, so I just kind of threw them in. This is the Melody palette. It has these butterflies on the front. And then when you take off the sleeve, this is what it looks like. It's a very neutral palette, but this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of these are duochromes. And that's why I wanted to get this palette, because I'm really into duochromes and multi-chromes at the moment. But you get a couple of mattes to make sure that you can still make a look with this. It has a really nice dark shade here as well. The only 2 shades that I'm not too fussed about are these 2 right here. I have a million of those in my collection, but these 5 look to be a little bit more unique. So can't wait to play around with the Melody palette. I also bought the Heritage palette by Zoeva. I'm not sure if you can see that. It has really nice gold reflective packaging, and this is like the more intense version of the Melody palette, you could almost say. It has, again, a couple of more interesting shades. They're not very duochromy, but this like purple with a blue shimmer, oh, this on the lower lash line was really, really stunning. I did 1 look with this so far, so not enough to really have enough thoughts on this. Again, you get a couple of mattes that are really nice. I think this has 5 mattes, 5 shimmers. You get a couple of these like purpley berry shades, which you know I love. And this shade, I know it's just like another like inner corner highlight shade, but it seems to have a flash of something. And if you see my Zoeva eyeshadow palette collection video, or any video in which I mention Zoeva eyeshadow palettes, Zoeva has been doing duochromes and like shifty eyeshadows, I know, like since some of their earliest palettes. So for them to come out with a couple of new ones where they also have these nice shades. And I really like Zoeva quality, and these 2 were already on my wish list for a couple of months, and I just finally decided to bite the bullet. Another palette that had been on my wish list for some time was the September Rose Slush palette. They've now come out with the Slush 2, but they look really similar in the pictures I can see online. It's like a bit smaller because it has 5 fewer shades than this one does. And it seems to be a bit brighter, a bit bolder perhaps, but I think that if I already have this one, ooh, strong magnet. If I already have this one, that I don't really need the Slush 2. I may want to get it if I really enjoy the quality of this and fall in love with it, but I've heard sort of mixed reviews on this, with some people saying that it's a great palette, whereas others say there are a couple of duds in here. So far, when I swatched it, that seemed to be the case. Some of these shades swatch super nicely and look to be super pigmented, whereas others are a bit lackluster and cannot really be built up either. So not sure how I feel about this yet. but this is, for instance, that really bright neon orange right here in the middle. This really nice bright pop of pink as well. And that's what I like about this. It's just a really, really nice bright eyeshadow palette, a lot brighter than most of my other ones. So I can't wait to try this a bit more. For the only other palette that I've tried, it is going to be the Nabla Secret palette. I bought this the minute it launched. I don't normally do that because I'm always a little late to the party, but I bought this and I immediately started playing around with it as well because I was still sort of like waiting on some of the other palettes to arrive, or I hadn't really bought them yet, so I wanted to have something new to play with, and that's when I bought this. I mainly bought it because of these two teals here, this purple, but also this shade here, Play Hard. But that's one of those like super flaky shimmers that Nabla insists on doing in their palettes, which it's a nice shade, but it works mostly in the inner corner or maybe dabbed onto the lid. It's definitely more of a transformer shade, but it has a bit of a green flash to it. I do have to say that the rest of the palette wasn't what I had expected from seeing this online. I'm not gonna lie. I was a bit disappointed when I saw it in real life. Yes, this row, stunning. This row, neutral browns. This row, mauvey berry shades. I have those kind of things in many other palettes, I feel, and truth be told, I probably have something like this as well. I do have to say that this does make for very cohesive wearable looks, so that's nice. I think it's one of the most wearable eyeshadow palettes that's in this haul today. It is really nice, sturdy packaging. It's lovely quality. I do have to say that the swatches and the pictures online made this look a lot more exciting and different than it did in real life. A palette that I decided to get after seeing it in real life. Are you ready for a very bougie option? Natasha Denona Gold. I treated myself to a trip to Paris. I'm not really traveling this summer vacation, so I did want to go somewhere. So when there was a sale on for like less expensive train tickets to go to Paris, I decided to just hop on a train and go to Paris for the day in my summer vacation. And what do you then do if you're a makeup lover? You go to Sephora. And French Sephora has Natasha Denona. And I bought their Lila palette last year and liked it, but didn't love it. I thought it was a bit lackluster. I had expected more from it for the quality. But then I started seeing a lot of people on YouTube using this palette and sort of the looks that they created with it. Of course, I'm definitely going on about this corner particularly, but I also really like this mustard yellow here. And then you get a couple of really stunning neutrals too. But even like for how neutral this side of the palette is, I think it will pair really nicely with some of these other shades here. I know the only shade I won't be using much is this really bright yellow gold in the middle of the palette. That's the one I'm going to avoid. This had a bit of, this white isn't just a straight up white, it had a bit of a shift. So I felt that once I saw this in real life, I think that these are the neutrals, but all of the shimmers in here have something a little bit different to them. And that's what I'm looking for if I'm about to splurge this much money on a palette. I don't mind if there's a couple of neutrals, but it does have to give me something that I don't have anywhere else. So when I was at Sephora looking to buy that palette, I also spotted this. And this was Tarte's spring release, I think. This is the High Tides and Good Vibes eyeshadow palette. Now, when I did my will I buy it, like which eyeshadow palettes are on my wish list kind of video, I said that I was definitely interested in this and that I was hoping to get it, but that I thought I wasn't going to be able to get it because Tarte is pretty hard to get. I sort of passed it up. Some people were saying you can't get it from Sephora. I looked at the website, it was there, but I was just like, do I really need it? And then I saw it in real life. And I was like, ooh, that's really nice. They still had this in stock. So I was like, yep, that's something I can get down with. You get these really stunning, glittery, like pressed glitters. This side is very neutral. You get some fun shades here. I think this does smell a little bit weird, like Play-Doh. Maybe it's the glitters, who knows. So I'm not sure, of course, how long this will keep, because with those glitters in there, who knows. But this is a really stunning palette. It feels nice and hefty too. And I love this outer packaging with the little turtle at the front. It looks really stunning. And again, those teals, man. You know I like me a teal. Like a dark blue teal, minty green. Like, I can totally see a look there. I like that it has some pinks as well. That brings a little bit of a different edge to it. So this is definitely a palette that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, but I'm very happy to have it now. And then the final two palettes that I have here physically with me, the Jawbreaker and the Mini Breaker. Now, if you saw my video, then you know that I was umming and ahhing about getting this. I wasn't sure. Let's just say I had some gift money for my birthday left, and that's what I put towards buying these products, because I was a bit on the fence about this, and I'll tell you why. This is a stunning palette. I mean, and I bought the Blue Blood, liked the quality of that a lot, but this just seemed like such a mishmash. Like, just where do you start? Like, there's so much color in here that I just didn't really know what to do with it, just looking at it straight off the bat. But I swatched it in store, and especially when I started swatching some of these like reddish shades and this pink, like, I'm not a lover of pink or red eyeshadow, but especially this Cherry Wet and Cotton Candy, those really struck me as really super duper unique shades that I think I can get a lot of wear out of. You do get, as Jeffree Star usually does, you do get a couple of neutrals, so it's still quite wearable if you want to, but there are less wearable, easy to throw on shades in this than in the other palettes that he's done. So that's the Jawbreaker, and this is the Mini Breaker. And this was again one that I was like, I'm not entirely sure. The reason why I wasn't sure about this was this orange and this like very brassy gold shade. I know those just don't look good on me, but the purples in here and this like cool tone brown and this like mustard shade, those I'm down with. The only thing that I'm missing in this gigantic palette, ooh, I'm not sure if I can show you this, is the matte purple that is in this one. In the center of this, you get a matte purple. That should have been in here, because I feel this is very light. This big palette, for as many shades as it has, it doesn't have a whole lot of dimension. Ooh, I don't want to drop things here. Let me make sure this is safe. If you just look at this, you get two dark shades, and maybe that one. But this actually doesn't translate that dark on the skin once you apply it. I saw in the swatch. So you get three sort of dark shades, and this is a blue, and this is a brown, but it's not super dark. So you get a lot of pastels and bright shades, but there isn't a whole lot of dimension in it. So that's why I ultimately decided to get this, even though it has two repeat shades, because it does have these two that I feel will go very well with a lot of shades that are in here. And I also think that this Foreplay shade will complement this very nicely. So I almost feel that you need to get the two of them just to make sure they work together. Like, just to make sure you get the most out of everything. And that's just a bit of a downside here, and that's why I was umming and ahhing about it. But I had a bit of extra cash, so I thought, you know what? It's vacation. I'm not traveling this vacation. I might as well treat myself. Like a belated birthday present. So we're almost at the end of the video. I only still have left telling you which palettes are still making its way to me. And the first one that is still making its way is the All Green Layla 2 palette by Blush Tribe. I placed an order for that a couple of weeks ago, but it was a pre-order, so they're being shipped out one by one right now. So I hope to be able to get that in the next week or two, I hope. Yeah, it's an all green palette, and I think you get a gold or like a pigment with it as well, like a loose pigment, not sure. But that seemed to be very stunning, and it's an all green palette, and was really a color story that appealed to me, so I was like, yeah, that's one I want to get. I also bought Certify's Affinity 2 palette, another like blue-green palette, because I like the quality of the Tropical Wonders palette a lot. And I just really wanted to try some blue and green palettes which leads me to the last and third palette that is still making its way, and that is the Ace Beauté Oceanic palette. And that is a palette that, in terms of blue-green palettes, I see a lot of people going between Affinity 2 and Ace Beauté Oceanic. Oceanic wasn't available to Europe just yet. It just was released on Friday morning. I got the email from Beauty Bay. Look what we've got in, and I immediately bought it, and it's already sold out. So it's made its way to Europe, and I can't wait to try it because shipping from the official Ace Beauté website was outrageously expensive. $25. Sometimes in like late September, October, I will definitely do another 10 recent palettes I used video using 10 of these palettes that are here. So if you want me to talk about, like, if you want an update on any of these in that video, let me know in a comment down below which palette you want me to make sure to feature in that video. Please let me know. It's going to take me a while to use 10 eyeshadow palettes, so it's going to take a while until I can do that video, but leave me a comment down below and I will definitely check it out. Yeah, without further ado, thank you very much for watching. This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel. I'm currently doing all eyeshadow palette related videos in the month of August, so I hope you enjoy that. I am back with you on Thursday when I will be talking to you about my top 5 drugstore favorite eyeshadow palettes. So that's what's coming up next. Hope to see you in that one. Bye!